Well, welcome, Beach Baptist. You never ever know exactly what you're going to find. Let me just, for those of you who are just online, because there's quite a few people just online, and then there's people in the room at Diamond Head. We're doing some fun stuff today. Always something fun. Let me click this so people online can see everybody in the room. There's Doug. Skyla there.
Speak. Say something.
Something.
Okay, here. Can everyone see?
I can see. I can hear.
Okay. Okay. Good.
There you go. How is everyone? It's like I'm there. Really cool. I like it. Debbie's back there. See, my vision's really good still. I can see her way back there. All right. I'm just giving everybody online a chance to see everybody's face, and then we'll take off this split screen because it's easier. There we go. So you're saying I can still see y'all down in the bottom. So you want to wave or say something, you can do it. Your mics are on. But if it starts to give us data problems, I'll shut it off. Skylar can always text me from the top. But so you're gonna get used to a little bit different this morning. Skylar's gonna do worship when we're done here. So I'm gonna speak first, and then we'll do music. So you all get ready to worship at the end. If you didn't watch last week's online sermon, you want to probably go back and check on that at some point and catch up. This is not a full continuation, but what we've been talking about is so many weeks. Remember, we talked about war in our minds, and last week I brought to you a burden that I've got about tech and about what it's doing in our culture. And I read a bunch of statistics, and I gave you another book reference last week. If you wanted to go back and look at that, I didn't write it down this week. I forgot the name of it. It's there. That's what happens in a week. Oh, some of y'all asked about my test taking anxiety. It went away. I got a 92 on that test. It's pharmacology, Mike. So you might know something about that. So I'm excited about that. We got multiple tests. This is finals week for me. So that's why I'm not down there physically with you this week, because I'm prepping for finals, and we'll do that. And then Sharon and I's anniversary is this week. So we got a lot going on this week. So we just wanted to do something different this week, and have you here and me be on screen with you. And I know it kind of sucks to look at a small screen, but I think you can handle it. You're Beach Baptist. We can handle a lot of stuff. Nobody will ever say that about us. But so we're going to look at this being connected and sort of watching our tech. I gave everybody an assignment last week when we talk about, let's give you a quick recap. So what we talked about is how our phones are really messing with us. And it could be social media. It could be just the fact that we're not present with one another. It could be the fact that if I told you a story about, if you wanted to help somebody, maybe they had a baby, before you would bake a casserole and you would take it over to them and you would see them and ooh, over the baby and all that sort of stuff. And now we sort of just DoorDash them some stuff, or maybe we send them an e-card. And tech's cool. It's supposed to enhance our life, but a lot of us are allowing it to take over the connectedness of our life. Before we called them keyboard warriors. You would, and we're still kind of that way, I think, because we hide behind our tech. We're a lot more brave when it comes to coming at somebody, or saying stuff to them, even positive. We're more apt. I told you a story last week about Sharon and I and our texting back and forth and stuff about how much, I like to express it. I can express it better over text. And she's like, I don't like that. You need to we want to talk. We talk, right? We can pick up the phone and talk. You don't have to necessarily be there, but instead of the texting stuff. So we need to work on that, because it as a believer, we're supposed to be showing an example of what it's like to love on one another, not just love one another, but love on them, to do things with them and for them and be connected to them, and so here you are, you're meeting in a room, right? And you're connected physically. I couldn't. So we're using technology to help and enhance, but still be a part. And that's, that I hope you've got some in your life where that's able to do that. Some of y'all, I'm awesome. I'm so excited. Things like FaceTime came up to where I can FaceTime with people who are far away, or grandparents can be with grandkids that don't live with them. That's cool stuff. But it's this thing that where it's taken us over. And I gave you the other assignment last week to kind of look and pay attention to, like, when you're sitting with somebody across the table and your phone dings, in the middle of the conversation, do you pick it up and just look at the notification? I watched myself, and I was sitting across the table at lunch one day at Clinicals, and we're all sitting around, and we're having a conversation about the day and what we learned, and our phones are sitting there, and mine dinged, and I literally went to reach for it, and I'm like, no, remember, if I pick it up, I'm literally telling everybody at this table, you're not important right now. Now, I was at a school setting. There was nothing else that was supposed to be more important right then, right? Is that school setting. Yet, I was going to reach and find out what had happened somewhere in the world. I didn't know where it was at, but I needed to be notified about it, right? Fox News was probably putting out something really important, right? Or, okay, not everybody. CNN may have been saying something that I didn't need to miss in that 5 seconds, right? And that's what my brain was telling me, but I stopped myself. And I challenged you last week to notice it and to stop yourself from picking up, at least record in your brain or right now how often that happens to you, how often you literally get distracted by the things in your phone, the times that you do it. And then I also challenge you, and this will be the last thing to catch you up. I also challenge you to kind of look at how many times you're just sitting there quiet. This happened to me, sitting there quiet. And you're just sort of reflecting. Maybe I was thinking on our day, and it was late, and my phone hadn't dinged at me in a while, right? And I looked over at it, and I'm like, I wonder if it's broken. Did I take that thing off silent? And I went to reach and pick it up, and I'm like, no, it's okay. Even if I didn't forget, maybe even if I did forget to take it off silent, even if I did, it's okay to sit here and not get notified or dinged about something in the last, and I say it, 15 minutes, right? And so I didn't even reach for it. And I made note of that. And I started being very conscious last week about how much it distracted me, or how much I told people they weren't important by reaching over and picking it up. I mean, can you imagine right now? And I've done this. I'm preaching to you, and we're talking, and all of a sudden my phone dings, and I'm like, hold on. Oh, I got to take this. What in the world? I mean, all of my kids know what I'm doing right now. We've done this as a scenario and done this before in church, where I would do it, and I'd try to show you that's not how we should do life, but we do it anyway. So now we're going to jump on over a little bit more, and we're going to look at what happened in the Bible, right? And what the Bible seems to speak about this thing. That doesn't talk about phones. It doesn't talk about technology. Paul talks about it. Nehemiah talks about it in 2 different areas. And Paul says this. Paul says, you need to be alert. You need to watch out, because what's happening is that the evil one, he said, Satan, is prowling around, and y'all know what he calls him. He calls him a lion, or a slinky lion who's looking to try to get you, try to overtake you, right? And so I believe, and many others like me believe, that technology is like that technology is, or that Satan is using technology to sneak up on us, to sort of get us out of the game. And if you don't believe me, just let me give you some statistics that just happened there we are. This is some of the younger statistics, but it's okay. It happens to all of us. I'll show you. They say that people who spend 4 or more hours on their screen daily. Now, we're not talking about including schoolwork, because I think the school systems are doing a good job of being able to bring school to screens, and you're learning and you're using it. But they also encourage you to get away from it after a certain amount of time. But we're saying 4 or more hours after that of just absolute, just mind-numbing stuff. It could be messaging, it could be FaceTiming, it could be a lot of stuff. But think that you spend 4 or more hours, that you're more likely to experience anxiety and depression. And I told you about that last week, because anxiety and depression comes because what we're doing, what we're looking at, makes us look at our own lives and then get jealous about what everybody else is doing, right? Or we think we're not conforming, right? We'll get on that in a minute. We think that we're not living up to what everybody else is living. Mine is called FOMO. I feel like I'm missing out on stuff, right? I don't know if you're like that, but you'll look at somebody's vacation records and it looks like they're on their 4th cruise. And you're like, I didn't get to go on a cruise. I didn't even get to go on 1 cruise this year, much less 4. What am I doing? What's wrong with my life, right? That kind of thing. And so that's what they're telling us, is that that's what happens, 3 or 4. And I told you where you could go find it on your phone. I challenged you to go look and see, check out your screen time. How long, what's your average per day? What's your average per week that you're staring at that box? And mine went down by 29%. I'm not going to tell you where I started. I'm just going to tell you I went down by 29%. I'm going to go for another 20% this week just to see if I can and do it. On average, kids are exposed to porn by age 12. Kids are exposed to porn by age 12 based on society's use of technology. Now, before you say it, you're not 12. Understood. But do you understand that we're setting the example for the generation that's watching us? Your and my generation is setting the example. What we do with our tech, how we bury ourselves in it, what we show them based on our usage is teaching them how they should be, right? I told you about stories about going to a restaurant and watching young parents stick an iPad in front of a kid's face and say, take care of yourself for a few minutes. We don't want to disturb the rest of the restaurant. Not cool, right? I told you about the story, but you got to go back and listen to the story about my brother almost getting flushed down a toilet, because that's how my parents took care of bad restaurant behavior. Go check them out. It's pretty cool. And then the last one is that at age 13, okay, these are girls. Over 53% of girls report being unhappy with their own bodies. Why? Because of the comparison. Why? Because of the things they're seeing. By age 17, it jumps to 78%. At age 17, girls are saying that 78% of them feel left out in their body development. That's sad. Now, I'm going to tell you, the adult statistics aren't any better. Depression, anxiety covers across the board. Divorce, we're now able to look at the data and track it back to social media usage. The divorce rate climbed because of our unhappiness based on what we're seeing others do. People, and I'm not even talking about people we know. I'm talking about people we have no clue who they are. People that we grab and we migrate to because of what they're doing in their lives, and we want to watch them live. People, when you say that out loud, when I say it out loud, I mean, I have people on YouTube. There's families that I've watched. They drive around in a bus, or they live in a camper, and they migrate across the country, and then they move to Panama. I've been watching somebody live their life for over 2 years. I know it. I'm going to say intimately, but it's not. I know everything they're going through. See, I tell myself I know everything they're going through, and yet I don't. I know 20 to 25 minute snippets per week of what people are going through, because that's all they allow me to see. You see, when we're not face to face, the allowing of the bad doesn't come through, because no matter where you live, no matter what you're doing, you're still dealing with the same problems that I am. But when I watch you online, I only see the good, and that makes me think my life is horrible. I don't really look at their life and go, that's awesome. I more look at my life and go, mine's horrible, because I don't get to do certain things. So the Bible says, be alert. It says, in other words, be sober-minded. He prowls around. This enemy is prowling around. And this is in every single generation. He's going to use whatever tools he can to distract people from God, and to take away the things. And his goal is to destroy your very soul. It really is, right? Now, he can't destroy a Christian soul. He can just make you ineffective. All right? So this isn't going to keep you out of heaven unless you don't believe in him. If you're a believer, it's just going to make you ineffective. Who wants to be an ineffective Christian? We want to be able to empower others to live better lives. The people I'm watching on YouTube, the people I'm watching on TikTok, they're not helping me enhance my life. I used to watch a lot of DIY. My kids gave me the rewind. Anybody looked at your rewind? Be scared, right? Look at your rewind. If you have a YouTube, look at your rewind. It'll show you what you looked at all year long. Luckily, mine came up with DIY, right? So I learned how to do some things because of the move up here and to getting stuff together. I had to learn a bunch of stuff. I felt decent about myself for a minute, right? Because of the things that I look back and I learned, right? And I stick some of those nursing classes in there. So I felt pretty good because that's what I needed to do. I needed to feel good about some of my screen time before I started cutting it out, right? So as Paul's saying, what he's doing is he's trying to come in. Now, let me just ask you a question. Last night, many of you were at home, I hope, or maybe even maybe some of y'all stayed in a hotel. I don't know. Did you all lock the door? Did everybody lock your doors? Now, I'm prone to not doing that, so I'm not saying everybody does, but many of us lock our doors. We want to protect what? We want to protect who's inside, who we care about, and we want to protect what we care about. We want to guard our stuff, right? And that's okay. We want to guard people. We want to guard ourselves. We want to guard our stuff. And in the physical world, we're very conscious. Many of y'all are parked outside of Diamond Head, right? Anybody leave their keys in the car? Just left it out there, maybe? One of y'all? I can't tell if somebody raised their hand or not. I would have been able to raise my hand and go, yeah, I left it out there. I'm kind of trusting. But we don't. We tend to think about the stuff around us and the people around us, and we think about protecting. But yet, we'll take this, right? And we won't even think twice about the protection that we need from it and from what's coming through it. Or these screens, right? When we're not educating, when we're not learning, when we're not doing something productive or enhancing our life, we don't think about the stuff that's just pouring into our brains. Especially when we look around and we see our grandkids or our kids doing stuff. We don't think about it. It's just, here, take care of yourself. Right? Or for us, we're just bored. And so we pick it up and we look. And we gaze at what other people are doing, and we gaze at what our life could be like, or we're just trying to fill voids. Write that down. Some of us are staring at this thing to fill voids. The Bible's pretty clear where your void filling should come up. Should come from him. So this other metaphor I want to talk about is the gatekeeper. In the Old Testament, in every major city, they would build walls and they would build gates. And they would build it for protection, right? They would build it for protection from the outside. Don't let this get lost on you. God believes that you should protect yourself from the things that are outside, okay? Now, that's worldly people. The Bible's clear that you should protect yourself from people who don't believe the same way you do, okay? He would have them go and he would have them build around themselves. Now, he would offer ways to come in, right? Okay, this is not a political thing. I know it's starting to sound like that, but I could care less. He would offer ways for you to get in, but you had to cross a gatekeeper. In every single example of him building, of him rebuilding, there were walls and there were gates. Don't lose me here. So at this one time, the walls and the gates, everything had been destroyed around Jerusalem. So God called Nehemiah, this ordinary man, to rebuild the walls. And he told him two things: rebuild the walls and protect the gates. Protect where it comes in at. Scripture says this. I want you to see just how serious he is about protecting. Nehemiah said, okay, there's some vulnerable spots. Therefore, I stationed, this is Nehemiah chapter 4. I stationed some of the people behind the lowest points of the walls in the exposed places. Wherever the walls were most vulnerable to attack, I stationed some people. How did he post them? He posted them by families. He gathered families and he would say, family. He would say, Doug, take your family and you stand over here with your swords. Right? And he might say, Dennis, you and your family, you stand over there where the low spots are, where something could come in. And we don't even know who they are necessarily. We know some of our enemies, but we don't know them all. So these small spots, these weakened spots, families, stand guard. He literally empowered everyone to be a gatekeeper. And he says, the wall's vulnerable right here. Grab your weapons. Get your brass nunchucks. Get your whatever you got, right? Stand guard. Do not let the enemy in. Write that. Do not let the enemy in. And folks, we've talked about this for a few weeks, and when we win the war in our mind, that you can't control what comes in, right? And he says, take it captive, take those thoughts captive. This is what he's talking about. He still says you can't control what just necessarily arbitrarily pops in your ears, your eyes, your whatever, but you can gatekeep it from there. You cannot let it in. See, he wants us to renew it. Paul goes on, he says, you need to renew your mind. You need to fix it, right? It's broken. We all know you were born broken. Okay, none of us were born perfect. We were born of God, by God, but he tells us you're broken at birth, right? That was the only reason we needed Jesus. If we weren't broken, we wouldn't have needed him, right? So he says, you're vulnerable now. We're God's people. Nehemiah's talking to God's people. And he's saying it to us today. You're vulnerable. The enemy wants to get in, and for the Christian, he just wants to make you ineffective. He just wants to take you out of your game. He just wants to keep you from experiencing God in the best. And he wants to keep others from finding God. You understand that he can use you to keep others from finding God. I know that teeters on, well, God should be able to do anything. He can. We were talking about Satan here, and Satan's kind of dumb. I mean, he's crafty. He's still dumb. He still thinks he can win this war. Put it that way. That's pretty dumb. The Bible tells you and I to be wise, be alert, watch the vulnerable spots. And then Nehemiah goes on and goes, why? Remember the Lord who is great and awesome, and fight for your families. Today's lesson, I titled it, Are you ready to fight? If you didn't see it online, you in the room, you didn't notice this, but are you ready to fight? And so I do that sort of attempt. What's he talking about fighting for? Because this is a fight. This really is a fight. You're going to fight yourself to take a break from stuff. You're going to fight society because they're going to tell you you can't exist without this thing right here. You can't exist without it. You got to have it. Your calendar has to be on. They're going to use words like has to and have and you can't without and all that sort of stuff. What I'm here to tell you is when he says, remember Paul last week said, do not be conformed to these patterns. Don't fit into every one of the patterns. What I'm going to ask you to do this week as we leave out of here in a little while is to not be normal. Just a little bit, because you're going to push back and you go, well, I don't know how I'm supposed to function normally. Good. Paul says, do not be conformed like that. Do not think the way they think. And I'm not saying you got to throw your phone away. I'm not saying you go get a flip phone. Although I challenged myself one time to get a flip phone. I lasted a day, right? That's how bad I was at some points. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do this week. First thing, because Nehemiah had to do this. He had to walk around the city and he had to assess the gates, assess the openings. That's what I want you to do first. I want you to walk. You can do it on your phone. I want you to assess the openings that Satan has in your life. The things. Maybe it's just on your device. Maybe it could be other things, but we're just sort of focusing in on tech this week, okay? That you're going to look and see the places in your life that could be a shortfall, a way for the enemy to get in. I'll tell you, I really didn't know much about little apps, and there's an app called Snapchat. I don't know if any of y'all know about Snapchat, but Snapchat is a way you can snap a message to someone and then it disappears, right? In and of itself, that's a problem. Okay, if you can snap a message to somebody and then it disappears and nobody knows what happened, you can get into some trouble like that, right? Kids especially. So because kids can have conversations and then the parents don't know about it. But guess what? Adults can have those conversations and then they disappear and nobody else knows about it. What's done in secret messes with you. It just does. So I'm sitting around the table. My kids are like, "You don't have Snapchat, Dad. You don't have Snapchat." And Gracie was like, you need to get I want to streak with you." And I'm like, "I don't even know what that means, but that sounds freaky." And she goes, "No, that's where you snap each day and it tracks." And she had some snaps with people. There's like 1,000 days. She had been 1,000 days snapping with some people. Her sister was one of them. I'm like, "Y'all are sisters." So we started it about 5 months ago. I downloaded Snapchat and I was doing it with Sherry Ann, my own wife. I wanted to snap streak, but and I'm saying that out loud right now. It makes no sense. Okay. We can be dumb at some point and then get wise. That's okay. And then talk about being dumb because I do that a lot. So we're doing that. I had a snap like, I don't know, was it 100 and something days? All of a sudden, Gracie comes to me and she goes, "Hey, I'm not doing Snap anymore." I'm like, "I only do Snap because you told me I should do Snap, right?" I was dumb. She goes, "Yeah, I don't really see the point." She's 22. She's like, "I don't see the point." I was like, "I didn't see the point in the first place, but hey, I just follow along." That was an area that even at 22, she looked at her stuff. Mally was the same way. She was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing Snap anymore." Sherry Ann came on and she was like, "I'm not going to do Snap anymore." I'm like, I was the last one to the game and I'm getting left out, right? Dropped it. Okay. Didn't need it. I was only using it for them anyway. But at 22, she was able to assess the gate and say, "That's not important to me. It's not enhancing my life. I'm getting nothing from it. It's literally just mind numbing yuck," right? She threw it away. So I'm going to ask you to look, assess your gates. What is it? Okay, I might step on a toe. I didn't mean to, but it looks like we're going to go that direction a little bit. Maybe you need to look at what news outlets you're watching. See, I mentioned a couple in the beginning. And are they making you angry, right? Is a particular news outlet making you angry? Is it an app on your phone that makes you angry? Why do you want to be angry about stuff that you have no control over whatsoever? Why? Maybe you need to not. Maybe that's at a gate you need to assess. And you go, what I'm allowing to pour into my life from a national or a global level, it's messing with me. I'm not saying you shouldn't be informed. I'm saying assess your gate. Look at the stuff that's coming in and how it's making you react, how it's making you feel, right? Assess them. Go through them. And maybe just quit them. I'll tell you another story. I go to school with a lot younger generation. Newsflash. When I first started in my cohort, when we first met for orientation, I was the second oldest. Something happened to the other guy. I don't know what. I'm afraid to ask, but he's not there anymore. So I'm now the oldest of my cohort. We call cohort is just your group of that you're going to process through school in nursing school. So I'm the oldest. So I'm sitting in clinicals last week, and it's just younger. There's another guy. He's 28-ish or so. The rest of them 28, 26, 24, females. And we're sitting around, and there's always a problem in their life. It literally is. Every week, we're talking about problem. And with the girls, they're talking about guys. How much guys are bad, or what happened to them. And literally this past week, I got asked. We're sitting around the table, and they're like, "Hey," this one young lady, she was like, "Hey, my dad died when I was young, or and then my mom, man, she just lost it, and she's never remarried." And she goes, "Hey, you talk really good about your kids, and you seem to have it together." And I'm like, "I don't have it together, but what are we talking about here?" And she's like, "Would you could I could I reach out and grab into Pops? Would you go into Pops mode for me? And I'm like, Pops? He goes, yeah. Could I ask you stuff if it messes up? If I'm going to do something wrong, or if I'm having a bad day, can I reach out to you? And I'm like, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be Pops for you. That's fine. I didn't think any more of it. Yesterday, I get a message. It's in our group chat. And she's like, emergency. I need Pops mode. Can you get to Pops mode real quick? I'm like, yeah, what's up? She was having an issue with a phone app. It's a phone dating app where she had gotten entrenched in a discussion with a young man who's an idiot. I could see clearly. I mean, she sent the entire group this conversation she was having. And I was like, number one, stop it. Don't even block. You have the ability to block, right? And then delete that stupid app. I want to say it was called Hinge or something. I don't know. I'm like, come on. I'm like, this is Pops mode. This is the stuff. And it really got me thinking this week about how much of this you and I are allowing to speak into our lives. And to get all honked off. That's a Kentucky term for being really mad. Getting honked off over stuff that pops into our brain that we clicked on, right? It's silly. Physically download something that you're then going to allow to irritate you, that you're going to allow speak volumes into your life on a daily basis, and then get upset over it. That's just crazy. The more I listen to people around me and the issues that they're having, it's got to be high 80% that's where their issues are coming from. I mentioned last week, how many times are you sitting around and go, well, I just watched the other day, or I just saw the other day, and it's directing your conversations with others. And you're comparing the conversations that you're having online with the ones with other people. And you're going to only have a conversation with somebody who agrees with you over what you read online or saw online or watched online. And if they don't agree, if they're not in your algorithm, what we're also seeing is people back away from others. And they back away so much that, back to that anxiety and depression and loneliness, they back away so much that they revert to just themselves and their screen. Remember that dopamine push? I'm getting my fulfillment here. I'll just stick to here. Nobody can argue with me there. Nobody, or I can argue back. Nobody can fuss at me, and I can control it. I can, maybe that's it. Is it control? I don't know. Okay. So we're assessing our gates, right? Maybe yours is making you angry. Hey, yeah, that spiritual gift of being ticked off, not from the Spirit, no matter what you believe, right? Maybe you got a shopping app problem. I know it's Christmas. Okay, this is not a rule, right? But maybe if you're always broke, yet you're always shopping, and you've got this app that keeps bringing you things that you absolutely positively need. I am speaking to the choir. My wife will tell you, if I get in it, if I allow myself to get in it, the shiny baubles, man, they're just like, you need that. Do you know how many backpacks I own? I had to confess to her this week that I did order another backpack, but then had to prove that my current backpack is broken. Because in the past, I'm used to just buying another backpack because a pretty one came across my screen. I'm a bag whore. I admitted it. That's the first step to recovery. Admission. But maybe there's an app on your phone that keeps showing you stuff that you really don't need. I thought about this. Maybe I'll make this challenge. Not Christmas presents. Okay, this, once again, if you find yourself being that way, I'm going to challenge you to go 7 days without buying anything but food, gas, that kind of thing. I'm talking about an absolute necessity. Don't add anything to your life. You've probably got enough clothes to last a week, so you probably don't need any clothes this week, right? Think about it. Think about how many times you're scrolling along and the advertisement, the reason you decided you need it is because you read about it. It wasn't like, I need this. Now, I did do that with my backpack. I needed the backpack. So I went looking. That was okay. But I'm saying, how many times does it just come across and you read it and you're like, oh yeah, I need that. That's for sure. That's got my name all over it. I didn't know I needed it, but I do. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Try that challenge. That one's not even in your assignments for this week, but we'll try it. Try to go 7 days without buying anything but your absolute necessities, especially online. Sorry, I've also got a screen over here that tells me who just logged on or who's watching, or maybe y'all sent a message. So good morning to everyone who has said good morning. Sorry. Assess those gates. Now here it is. Because you are the gatekeeper, fight. And I mean fight. And if that's physically do something different. If you need to go extreme, get a flip phone because you just can't. It's just do it if that's what it takes. I'm not saying it does, but do something physically to fight it. You know, we tell kids or we tell parents that they need to limit their kids' exposure. You know what I mean? You need to say you're not going to use your phone at dinner time, right? You're not going to use your phone from this time to this time. Maybe you need to physically do that to yourself. You need to set a limit. Did you know you can set parental guidelines on your phone, right? And you be the parent, but it actually protecting you from yourself. Think about that for just a minute. Because I almost did it. I mean, if it continues, if there's going to be something that I can't break, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put parental control in there that says you can't have this, right? It's locked down. Give Sherry the password or whatever. Try to catch myself clicking on it and trying to do something that I've already said I don't want to do. I want to watch, right? I want to see. I don't want to experience. I don't want to participate in. Do you know that we spent thousands of years without our nose buried into something? We managed to live. We didn't. I managed to live a few years without it, right? I managed to live a few years and have to only talk to be connected to a wall if I wanted to call. I lived a few years like that. And now we just believe it's impossible to live. It's impossible to do, but you are the gatekeeper. I want you to hear Nehemiah's words as we go out today in your home. And he says, fight. Fight for your families, right? If you're single, fight for the family you don't have. Fight for the family you want, right? Do you want to carry this garbage into a new family? For those of us, maybe you're just married. Maybe you're empty nesters. I'm relatable, right? I'm an empty nester. That person you share the nest with now, are they worth it? Are they worth it to put it down, to gatekeep a little bit of your own life, to gatekeep, to put your relationship behind the wall a little bit? I'm not saying hide it away. I'm saying behind the wall to protect it. And listen, here's the person that needs this the most. You're sitting there behind this computer screen, right? Or in that room right there. And if you're the one that's going, no, I don't really have a problem with this. And you might not. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Ask the closest person to you emotionally. It could be a spouse, could be maybe you're single and you've got an adult kid. Ask them, do you think I am like this? Will you be honest enough to ask your closest relation to say, I don't think I have a problem with this. Do you think I do? Wow. Honest communication with the people we love. Is that a novelty or what? See, I think you and I are all looking for the truth. I know this younger generation is, but I think you and I are looking for the truth too. What the Bible tells us is that the truth is found not in a thing, not even in the statistics like the ones I gave you. That's not where the truth is found. The truth is not found in facts that you get off the internet or from a news source. That's not where the truth is, because everything can be skewed, right? I want what's real. And how bad is it today that you and I can't really tell what's real? Even the most unreal thing is being peddled to us as real. It's not. It's silly. But we're looking for it. We want truth. And the Bible for thousands and thousands of years, prior to these phones, prior to these devices, prior to the internet, has said, here's the truth. And this is what sets you free. It's Jesus. He's the truth. Dig into him. I don't know, maybe you're one of those that are sitting out there going, what am I going to do? What would I do if I took away my phone time? Right? And it could be you that you're Bible studying like 9 hours a day. I don't know. Maybe you are. That's good. I don't. But maybe you're thinking, what am I going to do with my time? Maybe that's some extra time you can put talking to God. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do today, and then I'm going to let you out of here because I think we physically got to do stuff. We got to do it differently than we are. I'm going to go on a hike, right? I'm not even taking my phone. Might not take my watch because now I can look at my watch, check a message, and you all think I'm just looking at the time. I'm going to go out into the woods and just walk. I'm going to be, and I'm going to let God talk to me. And I'm going to try to put those kind of practices into my life on a regular basis. And I'm going to allow him, and instead of, because I'm allowing people to do this to my life, I'm allowing it in. I'm going to allow God to speak to me, to talk to me about my life and about my choices and about the things that are coming up. More importantly, I'm going to allow him to remind me every day that he loves me and that he is the truth of my life. And I'm going to assess some gates. I'm going to keep assessing gates. But I'm going to fight at those gates. I'm going to try to keep this. I'm not going to try. With the power that God has given me, I'm going to keep it out. When something does get through, I'm going to fall back on grace. And I'm going to say, God, thank you for loving me anyway. Thank you that I wasn't wise, that I wasn't alert, that I wasn't sober-minded. Thank you for loving me anyway and pulling me back out. I'm going to recognize it. That's true growth. That's true being connected on a level that we don't see around us right now. But I want to be that way. Let me pray for you. And then, Skylar, you get on up there. I'm going to split screen this again so that people online can see us. Let's pray together. And then you all have some worship time. God, I thank you that we can come here and be together. I pray that as we leave this place, this meeting, this gathering, they were able to look at what we're spending our time on. The other stuff that's speaking into our life that's not you. Help us learn. Help us see you in every part of our day. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, you all stand and get Skylar up there. She's prepped a lot this week to sing this song with y'all. Who's walking up there on me? Oh, Show me.